being in a horror series, what do you think are the key elements that should be included in a horror series for you?
Vulnerability, your filters are down, you're walking into the dark room, knowing that you could be harmed, but you're using your decades of intellect and structure and things that you've learned from experience to protect yourself. And like the civil rights movement, we didn't know when we would have a riot or discourse or anything. How do we walk out alive, and what are we learning from it? And bringing all those experience for me from them, the Black Panthers, etc., to all of this discourse in the 80s and the 90s, and women's liberation movement, and being able to protect my daughter and raise my daughter to be the lead investigator detective at the LAPD, and take care of her and her son alone as a single mom, and knowing that I have a secret, that when do I share the secret of not talking about my aging or my illness or my mental capacity being damaged and by maybe medical, my meds or whatever. And now they're in my home paranormal activities, or is it not, and it's just my mind and I'm losing it, and now they're gonna have to take care of me, or can they? And so, I've got a washer, that a hoopty washer in my basement that's turning into this aggressive animal about to attack me. And did my daughter and my son witness anything like this in my home, or have I'm just losing it? And those things, I had to reveal a vulnerability. You have to be afraid. You have to feel sick. You have to show your wrinkles. You have to show things that you were fearful of. And that's being judged, unliked, unloved, losing love. There's so many elements to Athena in the episodes. And that little Marvin said, Pam, you've lived a lot of life, that I feel that you can bring it.
So, speaking of that, Athena is, as you mentioned, Don's mother in Los Angeles in the early 90s. You've had a lot of experience around Los Angeles and some of the ins and outs and the real life horrors that can come, especially during that time period. What would you say is the biggest real life horror that you can think of when you think of Los Angeles as a city?
Oh, I was stopped driving to work. Melrose. I'm going to Paramount Studios doing a series called Link, and the LAPD stopped me at 4 a.m. and wanted to know where I was from. And I said, Colorado, and you could see it on my plates. If I lied, am I going to get shot at 4 a.m. when I got to show up to shoot a series? And they wouldn't let me talk to anyone. They tore my truck apart, made me stand on the sidewalk, a total bogus, I could get hurt, and no one's witnessing at 4 a.m. And I'm like 4 blocks away from the studio, and they're waiting for me. And the police, you know what made me upset and afraid was they made me late for work, and I'm never late. And if I say something, I may not live to talk about it. So, okay, I am being frisked, stripped of dignity, and I want to survive it. And how do I do that in Los Angeles? Never happened to me in Colorado, Wyoming before in my life. I could drive anywhere in anything, but it happened in LA. So if it's happening to me, a woman with rollers in my hair at 4 a.m., I can imagine what other people are going through.